Let's talk about NBA betting picks for Friday. What's going on, everybody? Hope you all had a great day so far and hope you're all looking forward to the weekend. We're coming off of a 1-2 day yesterday. With the one win we got, it was on a play for 2 units, so we essentially broke even, took a very small loss. But 1-2, not as bad as it sounds. We were on the total wrong side of the Hawks-Nets game. The Hawks went down huge early, brought it back towards halftime. Everything looked good. They get absolutely demolished in the third quarter. They got no hope there. I was ready to call the Knicks a bad pick. It was the wrong pick. I don't necessarily know if it was a bad pick because they had the game within 5 points near the end of the fourth quarter, but the Warriors end up pulling that one out, so we do miss that one. Of course, the game we did get right. We had the Orlando Magic at -6 against the Utah Jazz. That one was pretty close coming down the stretch, but then Jalen Suggs, absolute hero, makes 3 threes towards the end of the game. Orlando wins by 8-9 points, something like that. They get the 2-unit win for us again, so as I said before, we pretty much break even. That was how we did yesterday. Guys, I've got 4 picks lined up for you all today. But before we jump into that, guys, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. Helps you out, helps me out. I'm trying to think of what's that called. Is it mutualism? Trying to think back to my high school science days. I think it's mutualism. We have a symbiotic relationship. How about that? There's your word of the day, symbiotic. Okay, guys, like I said, got 4 picks lined up today, and we're just going to kind of move through them pretty quickly because I mean, it's 4 picks. I also want to cut down on the length of the video. I still want to give you guys as much information as possible, obviously, but I feel like we should try to be a little bit snappier. So yeah, one by one, let's just go ahead and let's go right through these. So my first pick of the day is going to be the Cleveland Cavaliers at -9 against the Detroit Pistons. Having to lay a little bit of a steep price, especially since Cleveland plays at a bit of a slower pace. But, you know, I don't mind too much because even though Detroit is playing a lot better, Cade Cunningham in particular has been playing well, 28.5 points per game over his last 4, at least 26 in all of them. Even though you are seeing Detroit start to trend upward a little bit, Cleveland just so happens to have the second best net rating on the road this season. Believe it's at about +8 per game. You know, Detroit, any way you want to chop it up, even when they have been looking better, they've still got a negative point differential recently at home for the year as a whole. Like, again, literally anything you want to look at, Detroit is in the negative. And I want to give them respect, okay, because I am seeing the improvement. Monty Williams is getting the better. I don't want to say the best, but the better out of some of these players. But again, still a long way from the finished product. Cleveland's defense is just completely elite. They allow less than 110 points per game pretty much. They're actually better on the road defensively than they are at home. And I actually want to see how these teams stack up as far as spread results, because I know Detroit hasn't been the worst team. Okay, yeah, so they're actually 2 games above 500 as a home underdog, but when Cleveland is on the road as a favorite, they are just about 500 as well. So you're really not seeing too much separation between either one of these teams. I feel like Cleveland still almost probably views itself as having something to prove, because even though they are second in the Eastern Conference right now, you saw that they had that little bit of a slump coming out of the All-Star break, and also just before they lost a game to the Bulls, I believe it was. So I believe they come out with a fire. They handle business against an easier opponent. Cavaliers -9. That's my first pick of the day here. My second pick, I'm going to take it on over to Boston, but we're not going to go with the C's. We're going to go with the Mavericks, the Dallas Mavericks, +10 on the road. So should Boston win this game? Yes. Is there a reason they're favored? Yes. Do I have beef with that? No. But do I have beef with the 10-point valuation? I do. I think Dallas is a better team than being 10 points away from Boston. If you want to look at some of the numbers ever since Dallas did make those trades for PJ Washington and Daniel Gafford, which I've talked about ad nauseum, Dallas has a top 10 defense, a top 4 offense. They are 5th overall in net rating. So you're seeing this team really come to life. Boston, you know, I don't even really want to talk about their metrics because they're at or near the top of pretty much everything. But as far as defense goes, during that same 7-game stretch, even though Boston, I believe, has not lost, either they've only lost once or have not lost at all, whereas Dallas has a couple of losses, those teams still have the same exact defensive rating. Boston gets a boost because of their offense, but I think when you see this particular matchup, I think Dallas is going to be able to hang with them, especially if this game is tight down the stretch. Dallas has been the best team in the clutch over the course of the entire season, so, you know, I trust them here. They're shooting better than 38% from 3 in the month of February, or they did. You know, it's March 1st now, obviously. Luka comes comes in averaging 34 points, nearly a triple-double. He was over 40% in February. Kyrie was about 27 points, also over 40% from three in February. You're seeing the interior defense get a lot more solid with Derek Lively and Gafford and Washington and these guys. And Dallas is also more versatile, which is going to help you when you're going against a team like Boston who can play 5 out and they can attack the slots with cuts and off-ball screens and all this jazz. So yeah, I just think this is a good spot to go with the Mavericks here. You know, again, no disrespect to Boston. They're the best team in the NBA until proven otherwise, but I just wouldn't be willing to lay the full 10 with them. Same thing as the last game, Boston, Dallas, like there's like 2 games of separation between them as far as spread record goes in the context of home favorite, away dog. Boston does have the advantage, but not by very much. So I like the Mavericks in this one. I mean, they really should be 6-1. Again, they lost to the Cavs because Max Strus made 5 threes in 3 minutes. Never seen that before. So I like the Mavs plus 10 for my second pick, as I've said numerous times by now. My third pick going to be the Golden State Warriors -3 on the road against the Toronto Raptors. Second night of a back-to-back. Am I a little bit concerned by that? I mean, I guess, but we've seen Golden State. They've now won 12 of the last 15 games. A lot of those have been on the road, so this isn't necessarily an unfamiliar sort of situation for them. And if you look at the season as a whole, and keep in mind, Golden State has not been good for many parts of the season, but you can still look at the season as a whole. Golden State has the 4th best net rating overall, outscoring opponents by more than 4 points per 100 possessions when they are outside of their building. Toronto, despite their resurgence, still bottom 10 in net rating over the last month or so. Their offense and their defense both need improvement. Granted, the offense looks good in transition. They're playing with pace, getting the ball to some of the playmakers quicker. I think they're doing a good job getting Emmanuel quickly into his actions sooner. RJ Barrett continues to be a menace, driving down the hill towards the rim, putting pressure on the rim. But I think Golden State is the much better team. Really, I'm going to be looking at them to dominate the boards in this one, and that might not necessarily be something you would think about when you think about the matchup, particularly because Golden State is a small team. But they're 3rd in rebound rate for the year. They were one of the best offensive rebounding teams in February. Toronto, 22nd in rebound rate. If you think back to that Knicks game last night, honestly, the Warriors won because their ability to come up with second chance points and offensive rebounds. Like the entire 4th quarter, every time the Knicks wanted to get close, there was an offensive rebound. Draymond misses the free throw. They get the ball back. Brandon Podziemski's tipping it back. Steph Curry had 7 rebounds in the 1st quarter. So, you know, I think Golden State stays hot. It's only a 3-point line. We were in this situation where we were betting on a team on a back-to-back against Toronto when we had Dallas 2 days ago. They ended up coming through for us. So, yeah, I like the Warriors in this one. And matter of fact, since I've done it so many times already, why don't we see? So Golden State covers 69% of the time as a road favorite. Toronto as a home underdog. My computer's moving a little slow here. Toronto as a home underdog covers 38% of the time. So there you go. Not going to go too nuts on this one, even though it seems like the precedent would be telling you to do that. But Warriors, -3 on the road. That's where we're going with the third pick there. And then the fourth and final pick of the show, we are going to talk about the Milwaukee Bucks -3.5 on the road against the Chicago Bulls. Now, Chicago's a good team. You know, they're not to be disrespected. One thing they have my respect because they play good teams tough. You know, they are clearly not a contender in the Eastern Conference, but they will give those top teams a good fight. With that being said, I like what I'm seeing from Milwaukee. They're only 7-7 under Doc Rivers, but ever since he took over, he has, I don't know if single-handedly is the right word, but he's totally changed their defense. They allow the 5th fewest points per 100 possessions, just about 110 in the 14 games that they have with Doc Rivers. That's a real relief to them because they spent most of the year in the bottom 10 most major defensive categories. With that being said, though, their offense is not great. They're still trying to figure it out. They are 18th in offensive efficiency since Doc took over. Dame Lillard averaging 21.5 points, 6.5 assists on 34% three-point shooting during that time. So that needs to get better. But with that being said, if you want to have a problem as the Milwaukee Bucks head coach, you want the problem of bad offense because you've got Dame, you got Giannis. You probably should be thinking, we can figure this out. Sneakily, an important player in this one, Pat Connaughton, going red hot, going nuclear from the three-point line right now. His ability to continue to provide space for this offense when you see the lane collapse, whether it's Dame looking to draw free throws Giannis getting downhill, having that reliable three-point sniper with no Chris Middleton in the lineup, with Brook Lopez being accounted for. You need somebody like a Pat Connaughton or a Jay Crowder to step up, especially also with Malik Beasley as well. You need whoever the open man is when they get two on the ball to nail the shot, and Pat Connaughton has been doing that recently. Under Doc, the Bucks have a road net rating of plus 2.1, which ranks 12th during that time. Well below their home rating, nothing amazing, but granted, I believe they've only played 5 road games, so it's a small sample size. Milwaukee also has not lost since the All-Star break. They're 4-0, looking to make it 5 straight wins. They also covered in 4 straight games for what it's worth. So I like them going on the road here. I think that they can do a decent job here. They also take care of the ball. That's really important. They take care of the ball. Not the best on the boards, as you might imagine, from a team with their size. Chicago, meanwhile, led the league in rebound rate in February, so if anything, that's what I'm worried about. Their ability to get points off turnovers, second chance points, things like that. They were top 7 in both categories in February, but the Bulls overall not been that impressive. They had a -4 home net rating in February. They have a minus rating at home for the year, -0.9. The strength of their team is their defense. They allowed just about 111.5 points per 100 possessions at home, but like I said, Milwaukee's allowing fewer than that, both at home and on the road since Doc came over, so you should be able to see that weigh its influence. Milwaukee also much better at defending the 3, allowing 35%, while Chicago allows 37%. Overall, I think Milwaukee is the far better team. I think they've got more confidence about them now. DeMar DeRozan is the key player to watch in this one for me. Had 35 points in his last game, but only on 30% field goal percentage. Sorry. Don't know what I'm talking about here. He played Milwaukee twice, scored 41 in one of them, scored 11 in the other. So, depending on what version of DeMar shows up, that could be a key indicator here. The season series in this one has been close. Chicago won 1 game by 3 points. They lost 1 game by 4, and they lost 1 game by 9. 2 of the games went to overtime, so would not surprise me if it's close. But with some of the continuity and the chemistry that you're seeing develop in Milwaukee, I think they're able to pull it out. So the final pick of the day is going to be the Bucks at -3.5 on the road against the Chicago Bulls. So just to recap, we are going to go Cleveland Cavaliers -9 against the Detroit Pistons. We're going to go Dallas Mavericks +10 against the Celtics. We are going to go Warriors -3 against the Raptors, and Bucks -3.5 against the Chicago Bulls. Guys, that's going to do it for my picks today. Before I get on out of here, and before you get out of here, drop some comments. Let me know what you're betting on today. Like the video if you did enjoy. Subscribe to the channel so you never miss out when I upload. And thank you all for tuning in. I will catch you all in the next one. Have a great day.